So when you kick off then this, we'll describe it as like perhaps your enablement journey. Let's say you want to build a new module, a new learning for that partner group. Mm-hmm. Do you start then with the objective? Is that fair to say? And then I'll ask my second question. Start with the objective, the output you're looking for?
Yeah, I always start with my learning objectives. That takes me back to my teaching background. I need to know what do I need them to be able to do. And I always write, like I still go back to, I write my learning objectives as I understand, or I can do type of statements, because and I even cover them with my partners in our enablement flow, where I need you to be able to do this. And I rate yourself. Can you do this? Like, are you able to walk away and actually take action on this and do this on your own without support? Because that's the outcome I need you to be able to deliver on. And if you can't deliver on that, then my enablement wasn't successful.
That's interesting. And then, so how much of the automation part of it then is touching the partner directly and not just you? Like, I'm curious as I think about this, is it about, and it is certainly to some extent, to be clear, to acknowledge it, maximizing your value and your ability to deliver, at 2x, 3x, at some sort of a multiple? Is it also about then the return of those partners? Like, how much of the enablement is then benefited by automation coming back from them? They submit a form like you described, or things like that.
Mm-hmm. So it's right now it's mainly on me, just because we're still building and they're still scaling, but they will interact with it. They just don't know. So like if they submit a form and it goes straight to marketing, or if they fill out something and it notifies me that they did something, or if they fill out our vendor form, but then they get an automated email that says, hey, don't forget to send me your W-9 because I need that too. Or if they fill out or they register a deal and they get that confirmation of, hey, we have it, or hey, it's been approved. Like, that all is automation on the back end that I've built out. They just don't know that all of that's happening on the back end. It's their experience. And really what I was thinking on that side, on the automation I built out, is I want to be able to communicate instantly with them. I don't want them to feel like they're waiting on me or they're waiting on a human. They need to know someone is taking action on our side, and they need an immediate response. Because when it comes to partners, sometimes when you're interacting with various partners, you're interacting with another organization. Everyone has competing priorities. Everyone is working on a million different things. So when I have a partner who's taking action on something and doing things that we talked about in enablement, I want that immediate mental reward for them of, I did something I was supposed to do. I even throw in a little bit of psychology in there of, like, the emails are green, right? Like, there is you did good. There's a reward there. Awesome. There's like a mental aspect of it to show them you're doing what you need to do. Like, you're getting that immediate feedback. So there's automation there. They just don't realize it's automation.
It's fascinating because it's funny. I had a vendor that had to come to my house recently to do some work, and I emailed them, and they've done work for us over the last couple of years at the property we're at now. And I emailed them a few days ago. They didn't respond. It drove me crazy. And then they reached out to me just yesterday with something that they needed. And so I called the CEO, the head of the company, and just said, like, hey, I got your email, talked through the question they had. Did you see my email 2 days ago? And he's like, oh, yeah. I'm working on an answer for you. And I just had this moment where I went, you could have said that. Like, I thought you didn't get it. And I actually almost followed up that day of yesterday to say, hey, did you see my first email? What you're describing is really valuable. I think it's both in terms of validation and the acknowledgement of a job well done. What other best practices? We're kind of getting to the end of our conversation, so I want to tie up something really sweet here for them. You've got a bunch of good exposure, experience, really good perspective. I love your journey teaching, corporate training, and now partner enablement. What are some of the best practices that you could bring to the audience as they think about either building and or curating the next level of their own enablement to be more effective, not just from an automation perspective, but just in terms of just best practices overall to be really great at the profession?
I think the biggest key to success that I've had is always consider it from their perspective. So put yourself in their seat of what is that experience of the information that I'm being given and what I'm expected to do with it, and fill any of those gaps. I think there's a lot of times where we are teaching someone something and in our mind, we're like, this is all a beautiful picture and this is great. There's no problems whatsoever. And on their side, what comes to mind, did you ever play the game when you were a kid where you're telling someone to draw something and they're on your back and they're drawing just based on your directions, and they're like, yeah, I got this.
Holy flashback.
And
I know what you're talking about.
that's kind of what enablement, right? Like you're telling them, like, I want you to build it or draw this house on my back. Like you can't see, like I have this vision, you're going to make this beautiful house. It's going to be great. And then you're like, okay, what'd you draw? And they turn it around and it's like a stick figure. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, that's not what I told you to do. And so
I know you're talking about,
always consider the learning experience from the audience point of view. Like that's the biggest thing. And take out any of your preconceived notions, take out anything you expect them to know, and make sure that you're actually giving them tangible things that they can go take action on. Get rid of the fluff. It's not worth it. It's for you. It's not for them. So always consider their perspective, because that's what really matters.
That's such a good call out. I had a mentor, a leader, a friend years ago who I sat in a room with him, and he was talking about we're developing a new course. That's when I used to do the training work here. And he said, teach me how to tie my shoes. He was wearing lace-up sneakers. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And so he undid them, and he's like, you've got 60 seconds to help me tie my shoes. And I'm like, that's easy. No problem at all. No, it's not easy. It's actually really hard to do, because he was doing what you'd expect, which is like, what is the exact wording, phrasing, order of operations that you're developing? And 2 or 3 times in a row, I messed it up. And what I learned is what you're describing, which is incremental, step-by-step, clear, succinct, without fluff, which is super hard to do. And I think what you're describing overall in our journey today is that if you build the right foundation, you take the lens of your learner and focus on what the partner needs to be successful, and that you initially kick off with this idea of, here is the outcome that I'm looking for, the specific behavior or actions or otherwise, that you bring those things together and you develop a curriculum of actual partner experience with an output that helps your business and gets to where you need to be. And then once you've done that, then you go look over your shoulder and say, okay, cool. Like you can draw the house that I have in front of me on my back. Now I can automate it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, anything else here at the end of our conversation that you want to add back in, that you want to give folks in terms of feedback or advice? It's been really insightful.
No, I think I like how we kind of blended everything together of automation and enablement, because those are really what I care about. But that was awesome.
Brilliant. Okay. If folks want to get in touch, if they want to find you, learn from you, how do they connect with you on the internet?
LinkedIn is the best way to reach out with me. Feel free to send me a connection request or a message on there. And I mean, the biggest thing is spell my name right, because everyone's going to get it wrong.
Do you want to say it out loud again? Do you want to have everybody hear it just so they get it right?
Sure. So it's Rachell Weiss, RACHELLWEISS.
Get that right, everybody. Listeners, thank you as always for checking out another episode of Outcomes. I'm your host, Barrett King. Like, subscribe, comment, follow. Certainly DM me too. I get a bunch of good feedback on the show. Happy to take criticism as well if you feel so compelled. And obviously here is a resource if I can aid you in your own partner journeys. Rachell, it's been awesome talking to you. Thank you so much for joining.